yesterday, Sheffield Wednesday were deducted a further 6 points by the EFL due to historic late payments of wages to staff. That followed a 12-point deduction for entering administration, with Sheffield Wednesday now sitting on minus 10 points, with relegation to League One pretty much an inevitability, isn't it? Let's face it. Also yesterday, news came through that Chansiri is now prohibited from being an owner of or director of any EFL club for a period of 3 years. It begs the question, should it not be for the rest of his life that he can't own a football club? Anyway, they're in a mess, and I'm afraid to say, even although he may have had the best of intentions, he's a lot to do with that mess. And yet it wasn't that way when they won promotion to the championship from League One. And I spoke to him way back then in 2023. They'd just gone up, and this was Chansiri in a different mood that day.
We already planned at the end of season whatever league we are. We already planned both leagues anyway.
So what are the plans for the championship?
Yeah, we try to go for it. Yeah.
You're going to continue to go for it?
Yeah.
So you are totally committed to Sheffield Wednesday as the owner, and you're going to invest?
I do my best. Like I mentioned all the time since I'm here, I will do my best, yeah.
I will do my best, and yes, we'll go for it. And that day, it's still in my mind, yeah. the scene of the Sheffield Wednesday fans celebrating. It was magnificent, Simon, at Wembley.
It was a remarkable achievement following their win against Peterborough, wasn't it, in the semi-finals?
Yeah.
But this was then followed by Darren Moore, who was the architect of that, being shuffled out the door. So with respect to the owner, he had his own view on how things should be run. It's not surprising that if you get disqualified as a director in any business, you get a period of time that you aren't able to become a director again. Sometimes it's ad infinitum. In this instance, probably the EFL falling in line with reasonable governance outside the sport. You have to look at what he's done and how he's done it and why he's done it. There's a lot of questions about how much money he had, where his money's come from. And I think when you start digging into behind the scenes with Sheffield Wednesday, which I have done, you start to get very curious about this man and what he's all about and where his money may have come from. And so with all that in mind, it's a situation. Did he engineer this? Did he want to be in a situation where 150, 200 million pounds of his money's turned into 15? I don't suppose he did. As a person that sat in the middle of a banking crisis in 2010, lost the football club, gave it away to Parish and his guys for nothing, took my pill, but notwithstanding that, people could still say the same thing about me. I ran out of money in a banking crisis, but I was responsible. So you have to take a consequence for it. Should he be banned in perpetuity? Look, the challenge of owning football clubs is if you have no particular affinity to that football club, it becomes a business proposition. And once a business proposition becomes something that's run out of legs, or actually is nothing but a millstone around your neck, don't expect people to have the same feeling that you have about the football club because you support it. I don't suppose he strolls around the back streets of Kuala Lumpur worrying about what happens at Sheffield Wednesday that much because he's got no index to it besides his money. So you've got to be understanding of the idea, not him, and not the consequences of it, but in a globalised sport, we've opened the doors. You get owners that come in that regard it as a proposition. He's lost 150 million quid, and all the Sheffield Wednesday fan base will say, good, so he should. Right? And he's going to have to get past it.
Yeah.
Should he be ever banned from owning a football club again? Well, look, should I be banned from owning a football club again?
But it was
No. Hold on. Let's judge people by the same set of standards. I ran out of money in 2010, did my very level best to hold it up and put myself in a very difficult position. Couldn't get anyone to buy my shares, couldn't get anyone to buy the club because the world was in a terrible state as a result of a credit crunch. But notwithstanding it, Palace still had a challenge. The fact that challenge was taken away by me because I decided to take nothing and give it to others like Parish for nothing is credit to me, but not credit to the circumstances. And in this situation, the guy has, you can't argue whether you like him, loathe him, or think what he's done to his football club is reprehensible. He has blown 150 million quid. Who wants to do that?
I get that.
Football fans think that's that's your due. That's what you should do. Difficult one.
You were unable to fund it going forward at Palace.
And I think
is he unable to fund it, or is he choosing not to fund it?
This is the question that I find curious about this man, because one of the things, without getting too detailed, that I can't understand is where the money's come from, besides being some so-called beneficiary of a tuna empire. But the bottom line is that he's been disqualified from being a director. I would imagine, not if you tied this man's tongue to the back of a bus and dragged him to a football club that you could give him for free and bankroll it for the next 5 years, would he want to own one?
So we've seen the last of him.
Well, I would think so. He's had a miserable time. He's not been a great communicator. He's gotten I think culturally, I think with respect to the man, I think he's had massive challenges with the fact you heard him say, "I won't be put up with this. I won't do this. I'm not going to do this anymore until you guys shut up." You saw him talking to the fan base, and whilst I understand it culturally, you can't speak to fan bases like that. You can bring fan bases into the picture. You can ask them to behave in a certain way, but you cannot talk to fan bases the way he decided to talk to them. But then I listened to, I was watching last week, I was watching the reaction to some of the things that I said last week on the show, and you want to strangle some of these fans. Who the hell do they think they are? I'm listening to people going, "Oh, right, Jordan don't want to do this, Jordan don't want to do it, Jordan ain't got any money, Jordan's all took." I'm not thinking, I'm looking at these guys, you don't, after you emptying bins, you don't know what you're talking about. And so here we are in a situation where people have great...
Hang on.
No, that's a bit strong.
That's strong. That's too strong.
But people of a certain experience sitting there giving lectures to people that have done things both good and bad. The reality of it is owning a football club, I have to say, is a miserable existence. Unless you've got a bloody good...
Not to everybody it's not.
For most people it is, unless your idea...
You know what you're getting into.
Well, I don't think people really do. You only know, only time you find out what you're getting into is when you're in there, because it's really easy to get in. It's much more difficult to get out. And what you do is you end up having the love of the game sucked out of you because you watch it from a different prism. Now, if you're a nation state and you want to own a football club because you want to utilise that for political gain or moving of tectonic plates or societal changes, you don't care. You don't care about the economics of it because it's a sprat to catch a mackerel.
But is it not naive to think that you wouldn't know absolutely every pitfall that lies ahead? Now, I know the timing for you was difficult with the banking crisis. I get that. But Chansiri knew what he was getting into.
No, you don't. It's amazing. It's amazing the level of acumen that brings from one industry to another without being disrespectful. I remember talking to Mike Ashley 20 years ago about discounting players and bringing forward payments that when you sell a player to another football club, if they want to pay you on the drip, you can discount it and bring it forward. And he didn't know that because he wasn't in this industry. So what you don't know is that you get to learn. You get to learn really fast, and you get to learn because people are waiting in the wings, because it's one of those industries that people go, "Here he comes now, the latest mug," right? So we know that we can get in with these people, we can give our influence and our ideas, and it's very important. And that's what I would say to anybody buying a football club, insofar as anyone would listen to me. Make sure that you're surrounded by people that have the right motivations. The amount of people that get their pants taken down because they don't know the industry, because you think as a businessman in one industry you can translate. Yes, of course, human skills and management skills are the same. But this industry is built upon liberty. It's built upon people that are entitled. It's built upon public domain rarefied thinking. And what it does, it means it's never, ever anybody else's problem. It's always yours. It's never, never land, because no one's ever going to have to be accountable for what they do. You as the owner are always going to have to be accountable. So when a manager always got another game, shouldn't be judged by this. When a player gets bought, oh, he's not doing particularly well and we should consider this, that and the other. But at the end of the day, a bill comes in and some bugger's got to pay it. And that's the challenge of football. But if you go into it, but the wonderful thing about the Premier League is that it's created such a wonderful advert for British business, albeit most of them are owned by foreigners now, but one of the best exports this country has got is the Premier League.
Does it mean much kicking him out, Chansiri, for a period of 3 years? I mean, should it not be you're not coming back to football in any shape or form? Or does he deserve some kind of right to redemption?
I think two very clever operators in Rick Parry and Trevor Birch are very clever, sophisticated thinkers. If they felt that the best course of action was to ban somebody for life because that would be the consequences of errant behaviour, they would do it. So there's no reason for them not to do it. I would suspect that perhaps there's a legal framework that challenges the fact you get banned in perpetuity. People are allowed to lose businesses. Everybody that you think is a raving success or a roaring success, success is like an iceberg. You only see the top part. All the bit underneath is where all the crap is. All these wonderful businessmen, Trump, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, every one of them, Radcliffe, have had failures. You just don't see them.
So when a club's up for sale, say
the bigger ones are
in 10 years from now, and up pops Dejphon Chansiri, do you think it's fair and proper that he should be allowed to bid for the club, and if he gets it, fair enough?
Well, football should be sophisticated enough. What happens to football clubs? Football clubs don't go bust, owners do. So what should happen with football is, if it wants to avoid, wants to stop, say if Dejphon Chansiri goes off and makes a £5 billion from selling tuna again, right? And back he comes to the table, you want to stop that money coming in, or do you want to protect it from happening the same way round?
But would he be a suitable owner to come back in?
Well, if he's run out of dough, does it make him
knowing what you know?
Well, again, do we live in a redemptive society? Do we live in a situation where people make mistakes? Was his mistakes Machiavellian? Did he set out to destroy Sheffield Wednesday? Or did he run out of money? Or did he run out of motivation? Or did he run out of both? The bottom line is, we can talk about Rangers. We can turn around and say that Dave King came on here and talk about lack of investor or investor fatigue. Is that bad ownership?
Yeah.
we can all debate it,
Yeah.
but the fact is
Yeah.
that football, if it wants to protect itself, should say to football club owners, put a bond up so the football club can never go bust.
End of.